Lockdown has changed things for Mark Singlehurst.
Right, we've got 3 roe deer down there, there's 2 does and a buck. There's a very slight wind coming this way, so I think we'll walk down the track, cut across to the hedge line, and they'll be in front of us. If we can keep them sitting down and it's quiet, there's a good chance we could get into them, hopefully.
In the last year, Mark has moved a business based on farmed meat to the wild version. Right now, he is out with his daughter Molly to take a doe from a group of roe out on farmland near his home in Leicestershire. He knows about this group because he has been feeding them in front of a trail cam. Up until the first lockdown, he and his family had a catering business. When that came to a stop, he turned to another of his passions, rifles, bullets, and what they do to deer. He opened a gun shop.
We've built the shop over lockdown, to be fair. We are caterers, we do hog roasts and we do quite a lot of them, and exactly a year ago that all came to an abrupt stop. So we sat around for a few weeks and thought, oh, we're bored now, what are we going to do? So we've got an old building that was here, so we've rebuilt it and turned it into a gun room. Mainly because for probably the last 10-15 years, people have been asking me to do zero the rifles and sort them out, and what scopes do you recommend and what calibers do you recommend. So we decided just to make a bit of a living from it. So also with the reloading, I've been reloading for nearly 25 years now. I'm probably no expert still, but I can reload a good round. And we've been doing reloading lessons for complete novices, which has been working really well. People go away from here with a little certificate and a basic knowledge of how to load a safe round that's going to suit their rifle. We probably run about a dozen courses, and people were coming up from all over, coming up from Devon, and I've still got people now wanting to come but we can't. So it's took off really well, and it's working, and people are going away happy with some knowledge of how to reload safely.
What sort of people are taking Mark's courses?
It's an introduction to reloading. If you're an expert at it, then it's not for you. The first questions are, what's your problem? They'll always have a problem. It could be tight cases, it could be that they're not getting the group in, and normally when they bring the gun in and you see, there's normally a problem somewhere on the gun line more than the reloading line. The scope's not quite fitted right, or it's not quite good enough, or there's always something you can just tinker with the gun. As one lad, his gun should have been free floating barrel and it wasn't free floating. No. So we sorted that problem out, gave his barrel a good clean, and it was, we got him down to sort of just over 1 MOA. Couldn't get him any better than that, but he was happy. The thing with reloading is everything has got to be the same every time. You cannot cut corners, your case prep, everything's got to be the same. Your filling has got to be the same. I mean, those scales they're probably not the most expensive, but they throw the same weight every time, and that's what you need. It doesn't matter if that scale is half a grain out one way or half a gram or whatever, it's got to be the same every time, and that's where you get your accuracy.
We will come back to Mark and Molly's stalk. First, let's have a look at the ammunition he is using. Today he is experimenting with a copper bullet.
We're just reseating these copper bullets that I've kindly been given to try by Ray Trade, because it's the thing that's going to be affecting everybody that goes north of the border, I think, very soon. I've never really shot deer with them. I've not. So this is new for us all. We've gone down in weight a bit. We're on a 7mm08, so we're shooting a 120 grain, 130 grain bullet. Get a bit more velocity, and we'll see how they perform. We're going to load a few up and we're going to take them out. I'm going to go and try them on the test track, see if we can get a group out of them. I've heard a lot of mixed results, and I think a lot of the problem is that you need to drive it a bit faster to get the expansion. I've had people who've told me that it's hit and turned sideways, and they've hit it right when it's gone right through and come out the back leg. So I would think that indicates that they're not driving it fast enough and it's not expanding. So it's hitting bone and just deviating, in my opinion, if that's right. And you've got to come down in weight. So if you would normally shoot 140, you want to be trying 120 grain bullet, and drive it a little bit faster and see if you can get it to expand.
Mark says that the need for a lighter copper bullet could lead to a need to change the laws on what you use to shoot deer.
I think you've got to, especially for the 243, which the legal calibre for deer is 100 grains for a bigger deer. So you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to drop it down probably to 80 grains and see how it goes. But who knows? It could be it's a whole new debate, isn't it? Or there's thousands of 243s that are going to become redundant for shooting north of the border.
Now, Mark is also an inventor, and he has come up with a bit of kit for that back garden fox that's taking an unhealthy interest in your chickens.
This is our own sort of ideas that it's sort of grown. Living here in the countryside, we've got plenty of room to do this, and it started off with a little light on the back fence that when we baited up, a fox would come along and set the light off, which worked perfectly well. Why ever you were in the lounge watching TV. So the next stage was to get one of these. So you get that plugs in to any main socket in the house, in my bedroom. And then you get a sensor that you put up to 150 metres away from your house. There's no light comes on. When the fox walks in front of it, it goes off. So Mr. Fox comes, and that wakes you up in the middle of the night. Last year I shot 20 foxes out the window with it. And also, but the other thing you've got to remember is it will tell you if there's anything else in the garden. So if you get hares, or in my case we get the odd muntjac or roe deer come in the garden, you'll get that, and it's quite interesting to see what you do get around at night.
We see the results of the fox alarm in Mark's own garden. Mark baits the alarm, and a couple of nights earlier he had it out and set up, and this happened.
That was shot the night before last using a 70 grain Blitz King. I'm out the bedroom window at 12:30 at night. Muntjac carcass that we leave under the sensor whenever they come in, sets the alarm off in my bedroom, clear line of sight. Top louver window, 85 yards. The best bait I found for attracting them is when you shoot a deer, all the bloody stuff that's left at the end and the rubbish that you wouldn't eat, put it through the mincer, mix it with garlic powder, fry it up, and then scatter it around so that it's a wide area spread, so the fox has got to keep coming back and having little pits. And for whatever reason, the garlic powder really brings them in.
Now it's time to try that copper round, and so Mark puts up a target on the 100-yard range he has set up in his garden.
Back to the 100-metre mark, or 100 yards should I say, and we're now just going to give a few of these copper bullets a try to see if we can get them to zero and what they're like. Ruined the group, the last one. The first one was a clean barrel, and you can see it made a difference. Shot it a bit low, and then we put two together, and then the last one was still in the 2-inch.
He is happy with the results.
So that was the first one with a clean barrel, and then there was two through the same hole, and then we've just put that one there.
Mark is confident to use them on deer, so let's return to that stalk where there is a problem. The buck has come through the hedge and is looking right at us. After a tense few minutes, it decides we are not dangerous, so returns through the hedge. That's its mistake. The deer start to head off right-handed, and they will pass an open gateway. There's a small stand of trees in the middle of the field in front of us. If Mark and Molly can get to that in time and without spooking the animal that's sitting out behind the gateway, Mark can get a good angle on a doe. One of them stops in the gateway.
right, weren't it? Yeah. She went up right.
The deer had no idea what hit it and dropped almost on the spot. The other animals are equally confused, but not alarmed. So how about that bullet?
Well, the in is perfect. A neat, nice 7mm hole. Exactly where we wanted it. And we roll her over. You've got good expansion. There's quite a lot of meat damage as it's come out. There's a good 3 fingers. So as far as I can see, there's nothing wrong with how they've worked perfectly well. I use a similar weight because it's flatter. Out to 500 it'll beat a 308. Hits harder. Less recoil. What is there not to like? Proof's in the pudding, and I'm afraid there's nothing wrong with that. It's worked perfectly.
If you are thinking of taking up reloading, Mark will help you get set up with the kit you need. And if you want to go on one of Mark's courses, it's £125 per person per day, and he takes a maximum of 2 people at a time. The first 20 Fieldsports Nation members to book get a 20% discount on that price, so it's just £100 per person per day. For more, visit valegunsammo.com, link in the description below, where you can also buy Mark's fox alarms.